What's up, guys? Charlie here. Welcome back to Conquering Kerbal Space Program. Today we're going to be taking a look at making a rover so that we can scan the surface of Minmus, because we're kind of doing the same thing as we did in a previous episode, but because we're in a new save file now, all of the resources are moved around. They've shifted. They're kind of randomly generated, if you will, when you create a new save. So we have to scan them all again. So to get a more precise look at where we want our Minmus base, we're going to build a rover so that we can scan the surface a little easier. So here's our rover body. Oh, we're going to do this in real time now. When we did it before, I kind of zipped through it in a fast edit, so maybe I'll do it in real time this time. So this rover is going to be very simple. We want to be as cost effective as we can, but still have everything we need. So first thing I should probably do is get some wheels. So let's get some wheels. I'll probably put it about like maybe here. And we'll go about like this. And we'll go about like that. I think that's probably okay. They're not really lined up. Maybe I should get them lined up. It's close enough. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to put some extra power on this because we're probably going to be using a bit of power. We're not necessarily going to have access to the sunlight all the time with this because we are making it very small. This is the surface scanner we're going to be using. Let's put this on the front. We only need one. So let's put that right on the front like that. That could be the back. I guess I don't know. I don't know which way it is. I think that's the front and this is the back. I don't know. Anyway, so on the back though, I will assume this is the back. It's probably the front, but I'll assume that this is the back. And on the back, I'm gonna put a solar panel. I'm thinking, see, I was thinking about this one because it extends out and it looks really cool, just as like a little rover thing. The thing is though, it doesn't really generate all that much power. Charges at 42 charge per minute. It's not really a whole lot of power. So I think we're gonna upgrade this to maybe one of these other, maybe like this panel here. It seems pretty big, but if we put it on an angle, actually might be all right. Let's see if I can get this to be kind of where I want it to be. And move it over to the middle. Maybe slide it down a bit. Ah, now that actually looks much better, doesn't it? It's not wider than the wheels, is it? No, it's not. It needs to move over just a tad bit though. About like that. Close enough, I think. I think that's close enough to center. Okay, so we've got power generation. We've got the scanner. We need power storage. I think I'm gonna do probably one battery bank down here. It's probably fine. I don't think I need more than one. Of course, how much more would it really cost to just put two? Nah, we don't need it. Let's just put one. Cost effective, right? So we're up to 4,600 bucks for this rover now. We have adequate ground clearance. It's not bad. We could probably do with a bit more, but we're gonna be in the flats, I think. So, oh, here we go. We'll just turn snapping on and it'll just snap it into position. Perfect. Okay. We're gonna be in the flats, so we don't need a whole lot of ground clearance. So I think that'll be fine. Let's slide that battery back just a bit because it's kind of sticking out in the front there a little bit. And actually, we could just lift it up if we wanted to go a little bit more on the ground clearance. We could just lift it up. Not a big deal. Okay, so now we got the scanner. That's good. We got the battery. That's good. Wheels. And we need a way to communicate with it. Longer range. So how about we go to communications. This doesn't have enough. Well, I mean, 500 kilometers is actually quite a bit, but I think just to be on the safe side, I'm going to use this one because it doesn't cost all that much extra. This is a Communitron 16S. This is a saddle. This is an antenna that's always active. I don't have to like retract it and extend it and all that stuff. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so there's our rover. Now, how do we get it onto Minmus, right? How do we get it to where it needs to go? Well, I think we're gonna make a mounting bracket here with a docking port, put everything inside a cargo bay, and then just lift the cargo bay up and get that on the surface. So let's start with something structural. How about one of these octagonal struts? Gotta flip it over though, like this. That looks okay to me, actually. Maybe a little bit too high though. Maybe we just take it down a notch. Maybe about there. That might be all right. Let's see what that looks like with the docking port attached to it. Junior. Here we go. Looks okay. Doesn't look okay? I think that looks okay. Let's reroute the part so that it's the docking port's the root part. There we go. And then we're going to go to sub-assemblies, and we'll just drag this into sub-assembly. Make a new thing called surface scanner. There we go. So that'll be our surface scanner. Let's go ahead and just junk that. Now we need a vessel or a cargo bay of some kind, a delivery method for this rover. So I'm thinking I might do basically the same thing I did before. We'll start with the litho brake service bay here. And we'll kind of do it about, yep, like this. And then we'll go open. This will work. Let's build this in the vertical assembly building, though. Bam! Through the power of video editing, we are now at the vehicle assembly building. So I'm going to start with the cargo bay, again, right here. Litho brake. So let's open up the doors. And we'll need to fasten something that we can use to just attach this rover in here. So I'm thinking a docking port along the top is probably the method I'm looking for here. About like that. Let's go ahead and test that theory by just taking a sub-assembly. And we'll get it onto there. Now, we have a problem with the wheels being a little bit, it's just a little bit too high. So what I could do, come over to this side. What I'll do instead is we'll take this and we'll just kind of do, see, now that's gonna mess me up with my actual template. But actually, let's just do it this way. Take the rover body and move that up. That's what we want to do. Move the rover body up until the wheels clear. About like that. We want a little bit of play here. We want just a little bit of drop, if you will. Because if it's too close, then they may not fully undock. So we'll do about like that. Cool. So there's our rover inside the cargo bay. Pretty easy. Doesn't have to be complicated. Now that that's in there, we can work on getting this up to space. That's not hard. We already have the probe, but I kind of want a different probe driving it. So I might even be able to get this cargo bay back. Just deliver it and then take it back, bring it back to Kerbin. Might be able to. What if that was part of the mission parameters? Must recover all cargo. Must recover the cargo bay. I don't know. How about we take and grab a probe? See, this is like really weird because it's all like, it's a small probe on a big body, but I suppose, so we are trying to be cost effective here, could just do something like this. I don't know. How about, not that one. Could do something like this on the top, right? And then how about we put some of our monopropellant supply and stuff on top of this. So take my fuel tank, take my monopropellant supply. Actually, that's probably better off to doing it like this then. It looks strange, but it does, it kind of works. Structurally, we could then put another adapter, this with the probe body. Then stick a antenna on that to have better reception once we get into space. So put like a 32 or something on it. Like that. That's possible. I guess it's not really that big of a deal. So how do we want to land this on the surface? We need this edge to be, this flat edge here, to be on the surface. So we're not going to worry about like a heat shield or anything like that. We want it to land as flat as possible so that the wheels just come right out. So we'll leave that like it is, but that also means we can't have the engine below it. We need it on the sides. Now last time we did it with monopropellant thrusters, and I'm kind of thinking that's my method of doing it this time too. I'm going to add an extra one of these just to give me the extra supply, or I could do it radially, which actually makes me happier. Let's do it radially instead. So how about we take fuel tanks? How about we go with these engine mounts? Sound interesting, don't they? If I put two of these engine mounts like this, and and then stack them on top of each other so that they like that. If I did this and moved this down to where it's almost flat with the rest of it, it's not bad. The problem with this is that I wanted to mount little engines on the sides here. I thought that might be clever, but I'm not sure there are engines that are small enough to go in there without being a nuisance. Well, we've got this heavy monopropellant engine here, which is kind of what I was looking for, actually, like a bigger, like engine on this. They each have 110. Yeah, but they're just too big. Like, I'd have to go all the way up like this in order for it to be. I don't think that's gonna work. So let's not do that. Let's just grab regular old monopropellant thrusters, which are command and control. These are the heavies. These are the super heavies. Super duper monopropellant thrusters. So we stick these on there. That's sure to do it. What kind of specific impulse do these have? I mean, they're gonna take monopropellant, that's for sure. But they're actually better than a lot of these other ones. These are 260. 260. This is 250. 240. But there's a lot more thrust in this, and I like that thrust. So how about we grab another one of these? So if we change the body to Minmus, the thrust to weight's ridiculous, so we're fine. Like, we have way more thrust to weight ratio than we will ever need, ever. Probably means we could go with something more efficient, because we don't need all that thrust. This quad has a 270. 0.4 thrust power. I mean, I'd like having super awesome control, though, you know? But it might be just a bit overkill to use this. What about if I use this RCS pod? This is a 250. This is the 270 one. See, now these are going to be not nearly enough. I need something that I can really control this with. So let's put these. No, we only want two. Put them right over top of this. We don't need the flag on this because we can't see it anyway. The flag, by the way, if you didn't notice, I have a new flag. PII, Break Through the Horizon. That's our new company flag. If you have a flag idea, you can send it to me. You can send it just to hottipsvideo@gmail.com. And if you have a flag idea, I might put your flag on one of our crafts and just be like, hey, look, this is a flag sent to me by whoever, and it might be fun to see some other flags. All right, so I think this is good. I think this is going to be able to do some really great things on the surface. The only issue I have is whether or not I'm going to have enough monopropellant. I think I will. 700 monopropellant, 750 monopropellant should be enough to deal with this landing. And if it's not, then it's only $17,000 worth of cargo, so whatever. Okay, so now we need to get this up where it needs to go. So, we need to get it up to Minmus. Let's grab a stack decoupler is what I'm looking for. Stack decoupler here. We'll grab a fuel tank. Let's just use, like, I don't know, one of these bigger ones. Again, cost effective is what we're looking for here. How about we just kind of go like this? I don't think Maverick has a 300 vacuum. This one uses monopropellant, but it has a 370. Actually might be the way to go. This one's a 370 as well. Okay. I can dig that. I can dig it. Looks more than enough to me. So I think from here, what we want to do is make sure we can get it into orbit. This is going to take us into orbit easily, but it's also going to take us to Minmus as well. So I'm going to have about entry burn plus decreasing. Let's say I have about 800 meters per second to play around with here. So I need to get another stage that's about 3,200-ish in order to meet my goal. So to do that, the problem with that idea, though, is that we're going to have... No, we won't have any space junk. We'll be fine. We're not going to have any space junk either. So let's take another decoupler. Where is it? I always go to structural because that's where it used to be, but now there's a category called coupling, and I just keep forgetting that exists. Okay, so we'll take this, and then we'll get another rocket stage. Let's do another fuel tank about like this bigger one here, and then we'll get maybe... What do we want for an engine here? Need a bit more thrust than the other stage. What does... This says 280 in the atmosphere. What does this get us? Not enough. If I made it a Titan, it's probably overkill. Titan's overkill for this craft. Don't need that. Let's move this up a little bit. But the Maverick might be where I want to be here. Thrust to weight ratio on Kerbin, please. 3.02. Okay, so, you know, the Maverick is a bit overkill as well, but we're going to need more fuel because we don't have enough Delta V. So let's grab a larger fuel tank because we're going to need more fuel. This should probably do it. 2.07 and 22. Ooh, yeah, 25, 22. So actually, the Titan might not be a bad idea here. Or we can take something with more than 1,400 meters per, or 1,400 kilonewtons of thrust. Something like 1,900 might work if we added more fuel. So if I go like this, and then I need to add another fuel tank. So if I put this fuel tank and then this fuel tank, we get 2.09, then 28.24. Plus another 25.30 on the next stage, but that's not enough to get me all the way to Minmus. However, I don't need 1,700 Delta V. So I think this will probably be fine. The only problem with this arrangement is that we're going to have space junk. Kind of wanted to avoid having space junk, which means I need to get into orbit completely with... I need to get into orbit completely at this stage. Then this stage needs to burn me to Minmus. Then I need to decouple this so that it crashes into Minmus, and then I have this left over. That's the idea. I'm getting rusty at this game, guys. It's gonna take me a bit to actually get back to the groove of like being smooth with creating crafts and stuff, because I've got a lot to learn. I got a lot to like relearn, like all over again. It's been a while. So let's take. I need a bit more fuel. I could just add the fuel to the side, like radially. I have enough thrust, so I could just do that. What if I just went with fuel tanks and just grabbed like some radial tanks? How about this? How about this stuff here? If I just like add these tanks to the side. Actually, I probably should have, yeah. Probably should have selected that to be fuel before I started copying it, but whatever. So this will give me more fuel. It also adds more weight. But it gives me 3154, which is pretty close to what I needed before. This gives me 3200, which is pretty much right on where I wanted. Let's add one more just to be sure. And then I kind of want to make these sink into the tank a bit, especially since they're gonna detach. This is where my, nope, this is where my thing is decoupling, so we're good. So let's just sink these into the tank a little bit so they look a little bit cleaner. This, like this, like this, and like this. Too far. There we go. So we should, and there's a bit of part clipping, but that's okay. So we should have enough fuel now, I think, to get up there. But the problem now is I think my thrust to weight ratio is just a bit low. I'd like it to be just a bit higher. So let's see if we have another engine that is a little bit higher than 1900, but still keeps roughly the same specific impulse. We have the Wildcat V. No, I need something close to 1900 kilonewtons of thrust. Sorry, 1700 in the atmosphere. That's what I'm looking for. 1700 in the atmosphere. I need something a little bit higher than that. I'm kind of leaning and thinking that the Titan is overkill. The Mammoth is likely overkill. We have the mainsail, which is close, but it has actually a higher specific impulse. It's got 285, so we might actually get a little bit more. We might actually get a bit more distance out of this. We do. We get more distance out of it. The thrust to weight ratio is pretty low, but we do get more delta V out of it because of its increased efficiency. So I'm kind of leaning towards that being the rocket now. We're using the mainsail. Okay, so let's get some stability here. Aerodynamics. Let's use some of our... actually, we need much bigger winglets than that. How about... I don't really want to use these big wings. I kind of want something that I can use to help steer. How about one of these? It's kind of big. It's kind of big. I mean, it works. I just feel like it's too big. You know? Actually, I have some smaller ones right here. Let's use these instead. This is better. Okay, so that'll be my stabilizers. And I think we're ready to rock. I think this rocket will work out really well. 1.25 is pretty low. I admit, it's a little low. But we get the delta V. It's going to allow us to have no space junk, and that's what I'm looking for. So, final checks here. Anything else I need? Probably a way to steer this without monopropellant. So I don't want to use my resource, right? Use my monopropellant resource before I get just steering the thing. I don't want to do that. So let's put in a reaction wheel there. Okay, that's good. We also need battery power and, well, we need power generation and then power storage. So I think up here is probably where we should put the power storage. You can put it right inside the cargo bay. So let's stick some of these battery banks. Can I put the XL in there? It's a little bit too much. Can I not put that in the inside wall? Come on now. It no longer lets me put this on the inside wall? Really? Wait. Why not? I used to be able to put all sorts of things in here. We could stick them underneath the rover. I mean, the rover's got decent power supply already, but I would like to put it on the roof of this thing. It's just not letting me do that. What about like here, like this? There we go. Like that. That should work. I'm a little bit worried about the solar panel hitting the battery, though. Maybe we can... Wait, what did I just do? What is it? Hold on, what are you doing here? I clicked the battery. Hold on. Get rid of the batteries. Clearly I clicked on something different. Put this right here. Like that. And then, yep, the batteries. Bring that up. Like that. Okay. That should probably be enough for power storage. I don't see any reason why we need any more than that, so let's close that up. We'll get the solar panels. Honestly, I really don't see any reason why we need any more than these. That's my problem. Wrong radial mode. Like this, maybe? Are these big enough? Kinda? I mean, I don't think I need any more than this. Let's just be sure. I don't want to like get into a situation where I don't have any power, so let's be sure. Do I need them up here? Is it really important to have them up on this part? Maybe. High efficiency photovoltaic panels. How expensive are you? You're $2,500. I don't need to spend that much on this. These should be fine. $380 should be fine. Get 2 of these things. They extend like that. Should be fine. We'll put them like offset so the thrusters don't hit them. And that should be good to go. They don't retract, so once I extend them, they're gonna stay extended, which is totally fine. It's gonna be in space. So I think this is ready to launch. So let's save this as a surface scanner. That's probably fine. We'll save that. How's my staging? Got the mainsail engine here, then the coupler, then the propulsion system for this fires. That's good. Then it stages. Then we have these 2 engines that will also fire. Looks good to me. I'm kind of curious about this, but aerodynamics I don't think is gonna be a problem. Let's go. All right, see, I know I'm probably like time warping or whatever you want to call it. Like I'm probably, blazing through this part because everyone's seen it a million times, but I just want to stop again and just look at how beautiful this game is. Just look at Kerbin. Isn't that just amazing? The visuals are stunning once you put the mods in place, man. It's just so good. It's so legit. Okay, I'm done. I'm done having my nerdgasm now. Okay, so 25,000 and 19,000, that's where we ended up. Now we need to eventually land in the Greater Flats. We need to land in a certain area, a very specific spot. Of course, we're gonna have a rover, so we can move around a little bit, but the idea here is that we don't wanna move around if we don't have to, right? Like we wanna basically land pretty much right where we wanna be. In order to know where that spot is, I'm gonna need to go to my scanner here. And actually, can I just do it from this? Is it possible to just do it while I'm got this vehicle selected instead? Let's do overlay control. I want to have control over the water. So there we go. So this is the Greater Flats. This is where we want to land, and it looks to me like probably somewhere around this area is probably where we'd want to land. Now I could just let this. I kind of think I should actually just let this orbit for a bit until it gets to about here. Then I can try landing here, and that way it'll be daytime and we can do things in the daylight. Kind of thinking that's probably a good idea. I'm gonna actually come up to about where that greater flats is. About here, I think. And let's just kind of get our orbit to be a little bit more equatorial in nature here, just so we don't have to time it perfectly or anything. About like that ought to do it, I think. It does bring this out a bit far, but we can always come retrograde as well. And that should probably bring it in a little closer. There we go. Let's execute that maneuver next, which is coming up pretty shortly here. That'll get us in position, and then I think I'll just drop the rover down somewhere around here. This is actually much more favorable for us. The water supply is actually quite abundant. Before we had like 2-3% and stuff, but now we're looking at like Greater Flats has got some major water supply here. I'm liking that. Now, I haven't transferred all the science experiments from the previous. I'm just gonna zoom ahead a bit here. I haven't transferred all the science experiments that we were doing. I was told how to do it. Fulgora has been very helpful. He's a very helpful person. Thank you so much for your advice. I appreciate it. I haven't actually taken your advice, though. It's good advice, but I don't want to edit my save files. And I just didn't bother to send it to him. I guess I could probably still do that. But I just don't want to do it. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I know it's probably easy to just kind of experiment with things like that, but with my schedule, I guess I just don't want to put a whole lot of time into something that I don't have any confidence in being able to do. It's probably a really easy thing to do, probably just a copy-paste sort of thing. But I think it's easier and much less risky for the sake of stability, on my part anyway, to just say, hey, you know, we're not doing any more science on Minmus, the Moon, or Kerbin. I mean, that's easy. We haven't done science anywhere else other than those 3 bodies. So if we just say, you know, we're not doing any more science in those 3 areas, then that works fine for me. So I don't need to transfer those science experiments because I've already cheated myself the science that was appropriate for matching me to the previous save file. And as long as I don't take any more science data from here, then I should be fine. So fine. We will assume, even though it's not entirely true, it's close, but not entirely true, we will just assume that Minmus, the Moon, and Kerbin have been 100% researched. And we'll just go from there, because there's no downside in just doing that, you know. Okay, so now we just have to wait for the Greater Flats to get into position. So I can just go ahead and do some time acceleration here until that happens. And we'll pick this episode back up when I'm in position. We'll pick it back up then. Okay, guys, so it looks like we're getting pretty close to being able to land here with sunlight. At least it's close enough for me. So I've picked this more specific spot now. Got a little crosshair on there. And I picked this spot because it has pretty much every resource that we need. However, there are a few that it doesn't have, but the ones it doesn't have are basically wrapped around it on the hill that's right next to it. So we'll be able to have like 2 sections to our base, but very close together to the point where it's kind of like one base. It'll probably be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and zoom ahead in time a bit here. I've got a maneuver set up to kind of tell me when to fire the engines, but I don't think it's really necessary. And it's also not timed properly, so I need to move it anyway. So up to there, about there. And I think this is relatively close enough. What do you say? Pretty close. Can move a little bit, but that's kind of it. If I'm gonna have a rover, but if I'm gonna come down, I need to come down on this side so that it's still flat. If I come over here, it'll be harder with the rover to get over there. So I think we just start burning now. So we're facing orbital retrograde. Everything looks good there. Let's go ahead and fire the engines. Let's bring it down. Bring it down, 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 down. And right about like that's probably good. We're actually heading just a little bit backwards now, but that's not really that big of a deal. We are a little bit off of my mark, but I think I can kind of visually see it. It's right here, I think. It could be this little area here too. Hard to tell. Let's let this thing fall for a bit. Okay, so we definitely need to go back the other way. Let's get rid of this maneuver and figure out where we need to go to reach that spot. If I made a maneuver, I don't even think I'd be able to do much with it. Like, if I went like this, where would I even go? You know? I don't even know. Like, there's no way to do a maneuver here. So we're just gonna have to kind of gauge it once we land, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and kind of tilt ourselves. I'm gonna get rid of this. Tilt ourselves like this, and we'll just kind of go like that. And then boom. Okay. Now we want to activate our CS. Woohoo! Do whatever we want. Yeah! Alright, so what I want... well, first off, I want to get control of this thing. So how about we get ourselves stable. There we go. Got lots of monopropellant, but we're burning through it really fast. So you can't burn it very long with this. It's not very efficient, but it's super powerful. And we can kind of move where we want to move with it. So actually, I'm thinking, since we can move where I want to move with it, how about we just stage? And we can kind of maybe do one of these numbers. Like that. It's probably more where I want to be. Oh, I'm way too far. That's okay, though. Because if I now make a maneuver here and tell myself to go retrograde at that spot, that'll help me more. Let's point towards the node. This will help me more, like, to get precise with my landing here. So it is this little area right here. This is where I want to be. So, like, all the resources we want are right about here, but the ones that aren't here are in this little area right here. So it's pretty cool. It'll be good. So we'll just fire this engine up. We get pretty close. We don't need to be, like, right on the money or anything here. That's pretty close. Okay, we can get rid of the maneuver now. And we'll just focus on surface retrograde. If this thing wants to cooperate. There we go. Okay. It's pretty it's spazzing out. It likes to burn its own monopropellant a lot. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of these thrusters for how unstable this is, but I guess. If I do a thrust limiter on the RCS, I bet it will help me out there a bit. Was it 29.5 on the other one? 26.5 and 27 and 25.5. 26, probably close enough. I wish I could type. Yep, that would be our other stage. We don't want any space junk, remember. 26.5. I don't think I can actually get these paired up because I'm unable to type in this field. So, whatever, it's fine. So we should fall pretty much straight down from here, which will be nice. Pretty much straight down. And this is about where I wanted to be, too, so I might not even need the rover. I might have just landed the probe basically where I wanted to be. Let's warp down ahead a little bit of time acceleration. And now you can't time accelerate on Minmus any more than real time when you're below 3,000 meters, so we're stuck with the long trip down. Look, there's Kerbin. Hi, Kerbin. And apparently Naden is over there too. We do have the distant object enhancements mod installed, so we can see things like the moon and Kerbin and little lights from Naden, and I don't know. There's other places too. Just have to find them. They're out there somewhere. Kind of wanted to find Sarnis. Might be on the other side though. be calm here. Here we go. A little less than a second now. Should be good. I don't think it's going to be that hard of a landing. Whoa, too far. Way too far. Okay, that's fine. So I hit shift and I didn't stop hitting shift. You need to stop hitting shift too. That's kind of the thing you have to do. Normally I'd say don't burn down because it's silly, but I don't want to drift any more that direction. So yeah, we're gonna burn down just a little bit. Okay, remember to hit X, Charlie. For gosh sakes, hit X. There we go. Down to the surface, nice and easy. Okay, that's good. We don't need to do anything else here. Keep ourselves steady. And there we go. Nope, that's not. There we go. What are you doing here? Hang on. Point normal, please. That's not normal. What are you doing? That's not normal at all. This is where we're controlling from, right? We are controlling from here. Yes. That's not. Okay. Radially out then? Is that what I want? Like, I don't understand why it won't just... If I say radially out, it should want to point directly out from the surface, right? Yeah. So why wasn't it doing it? Okay, never mind. It's fine. Radially out, then. We have landed. The most ungraceful landing possible. Terrible, terrible landing. Okay, so we're on the surface now. That's what we wanted. So we can probably shut this stuff off now. Shut RCS off. We don't need that. Just keep the stability system, whatever. Let's open the cargo bay doors. Then we'll tell it to control from here. And then we'll just go ahead and decouple this, basically. There we go. Okay. Yep. That's why I said control from here. Apparently didn't hear me. Now we need to turn the motors on because we had them off in storage. So let's turn the motors on. Motor disabled, motor on. There we go. Now if we go really carefully, we should be able to do things without breaking our rover. It's Minmus after all, so you gotta be really careful. Okay. So I think the steering is backwards. Yep. It's backwards. So I need to invert the steering. And then I think I want to disable the steering on the back legs. So what you're left with is something that operates more like a car. Okay. Good. Now we have a surface scanner on this, as you know. We can run the analysis, and we can see the percentages of all the different resources right here on this window. So the trick is to find the sweet spot where all of our resources are as high as possible. There's a couple of resources we won't have. Actually, right here we have 34% on the dirt, which is nice. But there's a couple of resources we won't have a whole lot of. Carbonite we're not going to have any of, but that's okay because we do have surface ore. It's only 3%, but we do have surface ore. Silicates, great. We're going to have minerals, uranium, substrates, water, hydrates, gypsum, and exotic minerals, as well as dirt. So all that good stuff we're going to have. And we can get more of it. I think as we go this way, we'll get more. Yeah, basically right the edge, right here. We should be able to get some pretty good ore supply. While still, the object, of course, is while still maintaining a good supply of life support resources as well. So I'm basically looking for right on the edge where this ore number shifts from being 3% to being 10%. That's where we want to be. And then we'll have all these other resources available to us underneath the surface too, including 10% uranium. I'm excited to see what I can do with that. Bomb the Russians. Just kidding. Oh, I'm American. It's a heated issue right now. It's a thing. Let's see. It's been a thing for half a century actually. So, this just decided to go away. That's fun. I still want you to be ore. So if you could kindly go back to being ore, that would be great. Could you sync to vessel, please? And once again, I want ore. Can we be like really zoomed in? There we go. That's what I want to be. Just be super zoomed in. I want to see how close I'm getting to this edge. I'm getting pretty close. The pink is where I want to be. So just go right up to the edge here. Basically make an edge on the... Make a base right on the edge of this hill. That's pretty much what I'm seeing here. Ore is still 3%. But if we go... I'm wondering what happens if we just go up the hill. Like, if we just go up here a little bit, right? Just off the flats. But, like, make the base up on top of this lowlands area instead. Do we lose any of these other surface stuff? I bet we do. I bet we lose, like, the water and the hydrates and, like, the gypsum and all that other stuff. Because this Minmus is going to be a good resource for us to replenish life support supplies on the PISS as well. So we're not just making... Okay, here we go. So there it is. So 10%. It says average, which is kind of weird, but... Okay, so if I turn this puppy around, where is the edge of this? Actually, can I go over here? It's a little less steep. If I go over there... Even over there. But if I come over here, it's a little less steep. I have a lot of control over this probe. Okay, guys. So I found, I think, my golden spot here. I found the perfect spot for our base, pretty much. Now, there's no silicates on the surface, but there will be if you take this rover and put it right there. So we'll have silicates right there. But this is like the line between two biomes, right? This is the line between the lowlands and the greater flats. And I'm right on top of my sweet spot right now. There's a 15%. It was saying averages before because I hadn't run an actual surface analysis on it. So now that I've run the analysis, and I ran it right in this spot here, this is what we've got. We got a 15% ore concentration right here. Fantastic. We've also got 10% metallic ore, 5% minerals, 3% substrate. Not a whole lot of uranium, but the same situation applies for the water and the uranium. It's right there. Okay. So this is my sweet spot for my base. I'm going to set up the majority of the structures right here. So I take advantage of all the stuff that's in the greater flats as far as the biome goes. Let's take a look at the big map. And then I want to kind of zoom in a bit here. Actually, let's just do the zoom map instead. So this is where we are. I want to zoom in, actually. I'm going to change my landing zone that I want to be right about here. So my new landing marker is there. But let's just zoom in a bit. I'll show you where we are. This isn't really going to show you where we are, but you can see it. I'm on the border of two sources of, like, two major resources, right? Just zoom in 1,000 times zoom. And we'll set our landing target to be right here. So that's a very precise landing spot. And we're right on the surface. So if I go into the blue area, I end up with ore being only 3%. Over here, it's 15%, right? Take a look at the resources. If I wanted to look at, say, water, for example, I actually have to zoom in again in order for it to actually register, I think. Water. Is it not gonna? It's not gonna show me water. Okay. Go back to the big map. Go water. And now I think it will show me water. If I want to see water. Let's zoom in again. And there's the water. So water, nothing, right? No water here at all. Nothing going on. right where the probe is. Nothing going on, but if you go just a little bit more, just a hair over, you get 7%. Okay. If I go to uranium, let's mark both these. I think I have to, for some reason, I have to do the big map and the little map at the same time in order to see the resource. It's kind of bizarre. And then I have to re-zoom in, so it redraws it. But 1% uranium, right, where the probe is, right, only 1%. But if I want uranium, I'll just come over, just a hair over where my water supply is, and there's 10%. So this is my sweet spot. This is where we're gonna make the base, right here. This probe is gonna stay here. The brakes are on. The solar panel is pointed towards where the sun can see it. It's not moving. That's my spot. So I will now make the Minmus base, assemble a Minmus base idea anyway, and we'll go from there. So let's go back to the tracking station, or the Space Center. That would probably be better.